Hello, DXClick here. Gonna help you guys get aitrack and OpenTrack set up real quick. So first you'll go to the GitHub page for aitrack. You'll scroll down and you'll see releases page right here to download the most recent version of aitrack. You'll click on that on alpha 0.63.3. Scroll down, you'll download the zip file. I already have it, so I'm not downloading it again. Once you've done that, you will on the same page, you can actually click on OpenTrack's releases page, and that will open up OpenTrack's releases. Download the most current one, 2.3.12 as of right now. You'll download the OpenTrack Win32 setup works. That's what I used, and then that'll just install once you download that. You'll download it, run the exe, it'll install OpenTrack on your computer. Now, once you have those installed, aitrack will be in a folder, a zip folder. You'll just bring the folder out of the zip and then you can launch from there. With aitrack open, you can go to configuration. You'll select camera. Um, Camera 0 is going to be your default camera device, so you'll want to make sure that is selected. It should automatically set the width and height to 640 by 480. 30 FPS is usually going to be detected by your camera and automatically placed there, whether it's a 60 hertz camera or a 30 hertz camera. Anything less than 30 hertz and you will not get smooth tracking. Once that is all set up, uh, once you have that set up, check the tracker parameters. You will have to check the distance your camera is from your face for the tracker to be able to accurately portray your movements. So what you can do is you can take a tape measure, measure it from the camera lens to right between your eyes on the bridge of your nose, and then put that figure into here. Your camera FOV should be automatic, but there are websites that you can check your specs for the field of view of your camera. Model type, that's generally, from my experience, that shows how strongly it stabilizes your movements. So if you put it on fast, it's not going to keep the dots super stable. It's going to constantly track your face. And you might get some jitteriness depending on what game you're in and how well it reads the input. Um, Landmark stabilization will set the facial features as more sturdy and it will cause some latency, but it can make your tracking more smooth and a lot easier to use. Heavy tracking, it will also add a bit of a latency to it because it does take that second to smoothly track your movements. Having it on fast with landmark stabilization off, it will be pretty jittery, little jumpy here and there. Once you're done with that, of course, once you get your settings right, you'll hit apply and then open OpenTrack. Inside of OpenTrack, you have multiple things to go through. Um, for aitrack to work, you will have to use UDP over network. That's how aitrack connects to OpenTrack, but in here, you don't even have to click the checkbox for it to work in my experience. Make sure you have FreeTrack set as your output and Excella as your filter. That can help you with, well, let me go through each one first. UDP, you can set a port if you want. Usually that's going to be used for remoting into another PC or another device. But in this instance, since you don't need to set the port, aitrack will feed directly into OpenTrack. With FreeTrack, depending on the game, some games get confused with the FreeTrack API. So if it does have any issue reading your tracking, try to use TrackIR, but disable FreeTrack or the other one to see how it works for you. Once you've got everything set up, you can just click Start Tracking on each application. This will test immediately if aitrack is outputting to OpenTrack. As you can see, my octopus is not in the center of the screen. So you can go to shortcuts. You can set a bind for center. What that will do is, reset the center position of the octopus. So you see, I look around, the octopus tracks. You can tell when I look up and down, he does follow me. That is due to having the pitch inverted. By default, pitch is not inverted. So when you look down, he'll look up. And if you look down, up, he'll look down. So make sure you invert that pitch. Once that's set, You can play around with how it feels, get an idea for how the tracking is going to track your face around. But you will want to launch your game once you ensure that you are tracking. Inside the game, you will test out the movements. And if it feels a little fast, a little jarry, you can go to mapping. With mapping, you'll adjust your curves. Now, as you can see, if I turn my head to the left and to the right, it doesn't quite make it to the same if I feel like I move the same amount. So what you can do, you can hit asymmetric mapping below, set a curve for one. The top one will be to the right, and then on the left will be on the bottom. You can set multiple points. Adjusting this curve will adjust how quickly the tracking moves across. You can fine tune that to, like, say, if you feel like it's, let me reset it. If you feel like it's tracking too quickly, like you don't want it to turn that far, you don't want to have to turn your head that far to make it turn that much. You can increase the ramp so that you turn your head less. Now you see how it turned inverted? That means you're seeing the back of it. It's extending your character's head in game all the way around if it reads it at the same value. Pitch and roll, of course, will have to be adjusted as well, depending on the game and all that. Personally, with roll, I have problems with it, but I only use this in Elite Dangerous, so roll isn't really necessary. I have a different curve for that. Pitch, some games you don't need to look down as far, so you'll do asymmetric, make a really nice curve so that you turn your head down a little bit and it's already maxed out, that way you don't have to have the same exaggeration to get to the top as you would looking up. Now, once you've got your curves set and they feel pretty comfortable, you can go to, or actually, I forgot one, mapping, X, Y, and Z. This will do your plane translation. So you'll, like, if you slide your head to the left or to the right, as you can see, the octopus is moving as well, up and down. That looks to be inverted, so you can change that in options. Y, okay. And then there's Z, which would need to be inverted as well from default. So you look in, back up. Personally, I don't use these. They don't seem to track that well in Elite Dangerous. But yeah, once you get that set up, go for it. I've personally not used relative translation or game detection at all, so your mileage may vary. If you find any decent settings for any of that, go ahead and send it in the Discord. If you have any troubles, any problems, feel free to tag me. I'm DX Click once again, so I don't mind helping. It's just, you gotta let me know. Thanks.